Hey guys, so we're going to talk about equivalent fractions today. This is a standard from fourth grade, so this should be familiar to you. Um, so first we're going to start off, we're going to look at what does the word equivalent actually mean? So what is really going on when fractions are equivalent? So the word equivalent basically means equal, that they're equal to each other, they're the same. They may not be the same numbers, but if you reduce them or change them a little bit, they can be equivalent to each other. So when you hear me say the word equivalent, I want you to think of the word equal. Okay? So we're going to look at an example first. Okay? So we've got a couple of pictures. So look at the two models. So you see we've got one here and one here. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to write a fraction for each model that is shaded. So we're going to write a fraction for the shaded area for each model. So we're going to start with this side first. So what we're going to look at here is we are going to count how many total spots we have here. So how many spots is it separated into? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this one has 10. Okay, so that's going to be out of 10. So if I go ahead and here, so we haven't counted our top number yet, but we have counted our bottom number. So over 10 for that one. So now we want to count the top part. So how many shaded spots do we have? So let's count just the shaded part. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have 5 there. So this is going to be 5 out of 10. That is our fraction. 5 pieces are shaded out of 10 total pieces. Remember, the bottom number is your total. The top number is how many shaded. So let's look at this side now. So this side's going to be a little bit easier. So let's look at our total pieces first. Okay, so we have 2 total pieces. So this one will be over 2. Okay, so now we need to go back and count our shaded area to see how many spots we have. 1. That was easy enough, right? So we have 1 shaded area here. 1 piece of, so there. So this one, on this side, we have 1/2. Okay, so we have 5/10 on this one, and we have 1/2 on this one. So we have different numbers on each side, but these fractions are equivalent. They're equal to each other. How does that happen? How can we have that? How can we have different numbers, but they're still equivalent? So if you just look at the pictures, okay, half of this side, half of this one is shaded, but half of this one is shaded too. It may not have the same number of pieces in the shaded area, but it has the same amount shaded. So 5/10 on this side, 1/2 on this side. So that means that 5/10 is equivalent to 1/2, or 5/10 is equal to 1/2. 5/10 means the same thing as 1/2. So how are they different? So we just kind of talked about that. They have a different number of sections in each picture. That's what makes them different. Okay, so you can see the different number of sections in here, different number of sections. Okay, so now we're going to look at, a couple of examples. Okay, and what we're going to do is, the way these are set up are going to be set up just like your homework problems. Okay, so what you can do here is you can multiply the numerator and denominator. So let's review really quick those two words if you've forgotten what that meant. The numerator is your top number in your fraction. The denominator is your bottom number. So numerator is your top, denominator is your bottom, okay? So you can multiply the numerator and denominator of a fraction by the same number to get an equivalent fraction. So for this example right here, we have 1/3, okay, so 1/3, but we can multiply the top number and the bottom number, the numerator and the denominator, by the exact same number to get an equivalent fraction, okay? So what that means is right here, okay? So I can multiply that by a number, and I can also multiply the bottom here by the same number. So let's start with the top here. So it already gave me my answer. My answer is going to be 2/6. So what I need to do is I need to say to myself, what 1 times what equals 2? 1 times what equals 2? Well, I know that 1 times 2 equals 2. Well, if I put a 2 up here, I have to put a 2 down here too. Because in order to find an equivalent fraction, you have to multiply by the same number on the top and the bottom, okay? So 1 times 2 equals 2. 3 times 2 equals 6, okay? That's one way to find an equivalent fraction. So next, how many times as many is the numerator and denominator in 2/6 as in 1/3? So it is how many times as many? So it's 2 times, right? Because that's what we did right here. 2 times 1, 2 times 3. So it's 2 times as many. So next, we're going to look at this bottom part. Okay, so we've got a few more boxes missing down here. All right, so this one's going to be a little more challenging for you, but I promise you can do it. So let me get all my boxes set up here. Okay, so what we're going to do is this says write the missing numbers to show a different equivalent fraction for 1/3. Okay, so we're looking right here at this 1/3, right? So we want to create an equivalent fraction. Well, we've already got started part of the way right here. Okay, so I'm going to do the first part with you, and then I want you to do this, try the second part, and then we'll go over it together. So here, 1 times 4 equals what? Well, I know that 1 times 4 equals 4, so my answer here should be 4. Okay? Now, look down here at the bottom part on your denominator. So this one is 3 times blank equals blank. Okay, so you may have to refer back up to this one to kind of see how we did it. Remember, whatever we multiplied that top number by, we had to multiply that bottom number by. So I want you to do the same thing down here. Remember, whatever you multiply your top number by, you have to multiply your bottom number by. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes. So you can go ahead and pause the video if you need to. Pause the video and you can work this problem out. And then we'll come back together in just a second and we'll share answers. Okay, so here we're going to look at our denominator. We did our numerator together. 1 times 4 equals 4. Well, I know that since I multiplied times 4 here, down here I also have to multiply by 4. So now I have 3 times 4 equals what? So I know that 3 times 4 is 12. So 3 times 4 is 12. So now I have found an equivalent fraction for 1/3 by multiplying 4 to the numerator and the denominator. So my equivalent fraction for 1/3 here is 4/12. Okay? Now, So here's what we do for you guys. So we have both tops here, okay? So I have a section here, okay, that's just like the first problem we did, all right? And then this one down here is like the bottom problem we did. So I want you to pause the video, go ahead and take a couple minutes, figure out your answers, type your answer in the slide, and then once you're finished, we'll come back together and we'll work the problem together. All right, guys, so we're going to start with the top number first, okay? So we're starting with the top number. So first is we have 2/4 times what equals 8/16, okay? So I have to break it down, do my numerator, and then do my denominator. So I know 2 times what equals 8. 2 times what equals 8. I know, just because I know my multiplication facts so well, that 2 times 4 equals 8. Okay? Now, I also know, let me fix this box a little bit here. So now on the bottom, I have to do my denominator. But I remember, if whatever I multiply my numerator by, I have to multiply my denominator by. So I don't even have to think about it. I just know that I have to multiply that by 4. And when I check my answer here, okay, I'm going to check it. I know 4 times 4 is 16, so I know that I'm right. So we created an equivalent fraction of 2/4 by multiplying by 4 and getting 8/16. So 8/16 is an equivalent fraction to 2/4. So let's look at this bottom part before I let you loose on your homework, okay? Fix these boxes really quick. Uh-oh, too far. Okay, so I have, this is like the second problem we did earlier. Okay, so I have 2/3. I also have a blank spot up here for my numerator. And then I have a blank spot down here for my denominator and my answer. So I'm doing 2/3 times what equals blank. Okay. So I can look here. I can automatically look down here at the bottom. I multiplied by 3 down here. Well, I know if I multiply by 3 down here, I have to multiply by 3 up here to get an equivalent fraction. So to check my answer, 2 times 3 equals 6. I know that's right. Okay. So now let's look down here at the bottom. So I have my problem here, 3 times 3. I just need to fill in my answer. Well, I know that 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9. I know that. So now I have an equivalent fraction for 2/3. So I have 2/3 here. I multiplied times 3 for my numerator and my denominator, and I got an equivalent fraction of 6/9. Okay, so that's what you're going to be doing on your homework. So here's your homework page. You have 2 types that are 2 problems that are like the first problem we did, and you have 2 problems that are like the bottom problem that we did. Once you get it finished, you turn it in to Google Classroom to get your credit. And if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll be happy to help you guys. Have a great day.